Alright, let's get back to it. Got an awesome one lined up this time. Now, where I left off at, I was speaking about debates. And the point I was trying to make was, when you have a debate, basically, the problem with the debate thing is this. When you're debating, first and foremost, the whole idea of what we're doing is trying to acquire knowledge, acquire ancient knowledge, and put everything together to the best of our ability to figure out what's going on around here, which would make us scientists, really, if you really about the business. But so when you deal with a debate, first and foremost, you're dealing with the whole nature of a debate is competition. Competition leads to ego. Ego leads to a whole lot of shit that starts basically strays away from the mission at hand, which is trying to figure out some shit. So when you have a debate, you have two people trying to prove each other wrong or whatever. Now you do have a form. Now don't get me wrong. Let's say you have two people or two scientists or whatever who come to a conflict of information in regards to a certain topic. Then as scientists, we would sit down and exchange information. So they'll be like, well, I got this. Well, I got that. Well, I got this. And we'll be trying to not come out as a victor of an argument. We would be trying to come to the conclusion of truth, or get the closest to the truth that we can possibly get to, as opposed to a debate where it's a win or lose thing or whatever. And so when it comes to a debate or whatnot, the question all boils down to, because if you're debating a particular type of information, or you're pushing something as the truth, then if you're willing to debate in its defense, then you should already have a healthy understanding of what you're dealing with, or your side of the story or whatever. So your whole preparation for the debate is supposed to be studying all the information that they present, or studying their side to see what's going on. So what happens if you do that and then you find out that what they're saying is more truthful, or holds more weight or whatever? Do you still go and debate, or do you say, yeah, you know what, I did my research? But when you get with a debate, you just sold tickets, you got, a venue or whatever, people were expecting a show. So you can't, you do that, and you throw a whole show away, or people done waste their money or whatever. But the information gets compromised, because as opposed to having two people that's trying to come to come the closest to common ground as possible, you have two people that, and then you subconsciously find yourself trying to dismiss certain things that the other person is saying, all in the name of trying to come out as right, or become the right one in the whole situation or whatever. And then the ego thing, when you look at the debate within the conscious community, that shit went from, when you did it with niggas in competition, that shit get crazy. So it went from niggas debating to, next thing you know, niggas is name calling. Next thing you know, niggas is damn near fighting in the streets, and all kind of shit was going on or whatever. In regards to the debate scene in the conscious community or whatever. Now, can you learn from the debates? Yeah, you can learn from both sides, whatever. But that's just my opinion on the whole debate thing or whatever. That's all I was trying to get out from that last one. So, with that being said, it's time to move on. Now, before we get back into the Osirian aspect of it, we're gonna deal with this channel that another Selena channel, because it's relevant to what I'm doing right now. So, when you look at Selena, her name is Selena Quintanilla. Selena, if you replace the L and the R's, it's interchangeable in Egypt. So if you take the L and replace it with an R, you have Serena, which means peace. Serena, serene, serenity, serenity prayer, or whatever. So that's one part of her name that means peace or whatever. Now you go to her last name, which is Quintanilla, Quintanilla. Now, Queen, I was looking at the word Queen. I looked at Queen first. And I was trying to figure it out. Now, I heard Bobby once speak about the word Queen in regards to something in Black Irish, or Black Ireland, or whatever. But he didn't really go into detail about it. But he said something about the Queen, and in regards to some Black Irish civilization or whatever. And so when I was looking at it, she was like, well, just look at the word first and foremost. Don't get too deep. And I say Queen. Oh, Queen. I said, okay, that's an aspect too. So she's basically saying she's black. I'm a queen. She's a queen. Woo, woo. That's one aspect of it. But then when I Google Queen, you have quintuplets, which is a group of 5 kids born at one time from one mother or whatever. A queen is slang or short for one person that was born within a group of 5 kids or whatever, or 5 people or whatever. A queen. Now, which goes back to the Pac name. I took you to the pt.15 in page 248 in Ancient Egypt Light of the World. That's 248. And then in Revelations 4, chapter 4, verses 2 through 8, it speaks of the many eyes, which goes back to the Pac, all eyes on me thing. What's the many eyes? You have one head. We'll start with this one. You had the one that came up here, and then you had the 7 eyes that followed it. When that one came out and took its place up here, these 4 followed it and set up out here. That's one. This is the top dog of them all or whatever. So this would be the queen if we wanted to separate them or distinguish them in regards to significance or whatever. So this would be the queen, the one, and then the other 4 around it. 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 plus 8 is 14. 14 is 5. Now, Osiris was broken up into 14 pieces. Isis had to put them back together, or reunite, or remember his body, bring his body back together in order to resurrect him, so that Horus can come about. So he can impregnate her with Horus and go to be the judge of the underworld and whatnot. So 14, that's the number of Osiris, a number of parts of the body was split up into. You gotta bring them back together. If we bring the 1 and the 4 from the 14 together, you would get 5, which is the number of Horus. Which that's when this becomes this is the first one to come up. But then when the light starts to retract, the last set of lights that retract is the center going up to this one, which would be the 5th. This pillar of light going up into here would be the fifth part of the process or whatever. So these would go first and all that, and then these would shoot up. So same way you resurrect his body to bring forth hordes, which is the fifth, or which is the number 5 is associated with hordes or whatever in Mars. You got Osiris, which is 14. You bring the 1 with the 4 together, which will give you 5. So that's the whole. That's the 14 being brought back together to bring forth the 5th. Okay, that's the Queen. Then you got Ta, Q-U-I-N. Then you got Ta, T-A, which means land. And then you got a name. The last part of the name is Nilla. Nilla means black. When you go read ancient Egypt of the world, you'll see a word in there called Nirla, N-Y-L-E-R-A, I think, which means black. If you take her name, N-I-L-L-A, if you take the first L, replace it with an R, you have Nirla. If you replace both L's, you'll have Nira. If you leave the first L as an L and make the second one an R, you have Nil Ra. The Nil Ra. Now, I never read any books on the Necronomicon, but I'm familiar with some of the archetypes. Like Osiris, he's the octopus god. They use the octopus to represent Osiris because octopus has 8 tentacles. The 8 is signifies the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the 8. You got 8 tentacles or whatever, 8 levels of vibration or whatnot. So that's your Osiris thing, Cthulhu, and then you have Nirla Hotep. Now what's Nirla Hotep? Nirla means black. Hotep means peace. Matter of fact, let me get the bring out scholarship now. So the Nirla Hotep. So now this goes back. So her name would be Queen. So you want to look at this Queen, or you can look at this the 1 out of the 5. Ta, which is land, and then Nirla, which is black. So you can look at it as Queen of the Black Land, if you so desire. Like I say, the Queen, Q-U-I-N part. If you want to look at it like that, or you can look at it from the 1 out of the 5 aspect. The 1 out of the 5. Not saying she was born out of 5 kids, but the 1 out of the 5 is showing her how she relates to this right here. Same way I was telling you about Pac with the T-Pac son or whatever. So when you look at Selena, she was Hispanic, so she didn't have as much surface melanin as a black person, or as or the average black person. But it's deeper. The surface melanin is just surface melanin. The most important melanin is neuromelanin. The melanin that runs up your central nervous system, the neural system, or whatever. What would that be? This would be your central nervous system. So the Nirla would be the melanin that runs up the central nervous system, and the melanin in the medulla oblongata. If this was your head, this would be the neuromelanin system, or the Nirla. And I guess you could say that would be the medulla oblongata. Or you can look at this as a whole head, and this whole back part of the head down here being the medulla oblongata. So in so many words, this is the Nirla. What's the Hotep? Hetep or Hotep? Well, what's a hoe? A hoe is a garden tool that you use to dig trenches. You dig the trenches, put your seeds in the trenches, then cover them back up with dirt, water them, give them light, and whatever grows, grows. A hoe is shaped like this. This is the hoe. So this is the Nirla, the hoe, and then the tip, or the top. Just like this one would be Hetep. So, let's get into some of this right here. we go through with the Ptah. I'm gonna hit y'all with some Ptah signs real quick. Ptah was the divine artisan. In his time, the masons, builders, potters, blacksmiths were at work, each in their companionship or brotherhood, as they are seen hard at it when the workers in the valley of the Nile come into view. Masons, builders, potters, blacksmiths. All these are dealing with, got the masons, deal with the stone masons and building or whatever, the builders. You got the potters with shape. So you got the building. So Ptah is basically when all that light floods when all this, remember all this was dark, when all the light came through the center and flooded it, when the light started to retract and go towards the outer circumference, it was digging trenches. It was molding and shaping the physical bodies that would be on the earth, and it was cutting holes and trenches and leaving seeds. So when all this light in this right here retracted from here and concentrated in this ring right here on this way to go that way, it'll leave behind all this land right here will be cut and dug out, or trenches would be dug, and the shaping and the molding of the body of the physical bodies that's going to be on planet Earth will be sitting here or within the land, but it'll be like it'll be like like a bowl, so it'll be like the bottom of the physical bodies of whatever is being created. It'll be like so it'll be like the back part facing up or cuffed up, and then the top haven't been put on yet, so it'll be like a bowl. So this will be like a bowl. This right here, you was looking down into it, it'll be like looking into a bowl with all these shapes and molds getting ready to be shaped up or whatever. So the near the hotep, all the energy traveling to the circumference, digging those trenches out and leaving behind seeds of light. The same way when you dig a trench with a hole in your garden, you leave seeds behind, right? You put seeds in the trenches or whatever. So when you're dealing with Ptah, Ptah is representative of transformation, and that's what's going on when all this light flood. Remember all this was dark, and the light came through the center, flooded up here. The light came up here to work with the melanin to carve and shape and mold the melanin and build all the things that were meant to be built on the surface of the earth or whatever. When you look at masons and builders and potters and blacksmiths, these are each one of those is a guild. So you'd have a stone masons guild, which is a group of stone masons, a blacksmith guild, which would be a group of blacksmiths. The blacksmiths is the blacksmiths would be the heat, because what blacksmiths do, they manipulate metal and shape metal with fire. So the light up here, as it's traveling to the circumference, shaping, using the fire or the heat to shape and mold everything that needs to be molded, would be the blacksmith aspect. The potter would be the shaping and the molding or whatever, and the building would be everything that's being built or whatever. So let me keep reading. He is especially called speaking in regards to Ptah, he is especially called the father of beginnings. He was the former in the likeness of the scarabus. That's the beetle. The beetle is a symbol of the scare beetle is a symbol of transformation or whatever. And Ptah and all his workers are responsible for the transformation of the black tar mud into everything that came to be or whatever. So he was the former in the likeness of the scarabus, the transformer in the image of a frog, and that's the embryo and utero Ptah. Exhibits the earliest attempt at imposing human likeness upon the shaping power that was previously imaged by means of the typical insect or symbolical animal as in totemism. And back when I was telling you about the guild, like when you go watch the Wizard of Oz. You had the Lollipop Guild, which is all the little munchkins. Little people are related to Ptah, because the original people of the planet were let's say the original people, the first people were Twa, little people. Ptah is associated with that littleness because it's the little light particles or the lights that's going through and building and carving out everything or whatever. So that's probably what the lollipop, why they call them the Lollipop Guild, because the guild automatically puts you in the state of mind of when you Ptah dealing with the masons and the builders and all that. So there's a group of primeval powers described in later times who are said to be the first company of the gods of Abu, or the fields of heaven. Talking about these 7 right here. They are saluted in these words: "Hail to you, ye gods, ye associated gods, ye associate gods, who are without body." Keep that in mind, because probably keep that, who are without body. Keep that in mind, because that's gonna be an important factor later in probably the next video. But ye who rule Mayat, they are saluted in these words: "Hail to you, ye gods, you associate gods who are without body. Ye who rule that which is born from the earth." Yeah, that's what it is. "Ye who rule that which is born from the earth, and that which is produced in the house of your cradles. Ye prototypes of that which is, ye prototypes of the image of all that exists." That's why I was telling y'all in the other video. These 7, and it gives you count the 8 and 9 too, but these 7 are considered the prototypes for everything in existence. That's why I was saying, anything you're talking about when you come to all these planets and all this stuff these people are talking about, it all has to relate back to the 7, because these are prototypes of everything in the universe. This is Osirian. This is the center of the earth. These are 7 or whatever. These other 7 of the mental. So ye prototypes of that which is born from the earth, and that which is produced in the house of your cradles. Ye prototypes of the image of all that exists. Hold on, I'm tripping. Okay, we'll start. They are saluted in these words: "Hail to you, ye gods, ye associate gods, who are without body. Ye who rule that which is informed from the earth." No, ye who rule that which is born from the earth, and that which is produced in the house of your cradles. That's the house of the cradles. There's 7 prototypes of everything that's going to be created here, or whatever. So, ye prototypes of the image of all that exists. Ye forms, ye great ones, ye mighty ones, first company of the gods of Abu, who generated men and shaped the type of every form. Ye lords of all things, hail to ye, ye lords of everlasting. In this text, the Aru is celestial, not Aru in the mental. So it's telling you about this. This is the celestial Aru. This is the Aru in the mental down here in the underworld. But the Aru of the fields above. Fields above. First company of the gods in the fields of heaven were the Ali, or the Ari, as in the 7 cavalry, by name, and the Ali are a group of companions who are herein set forth as co-creators of all that exists in heaven or in earth. See what I'm saying? The primordial nature powers are mentioned under several types and names. They are the 7 Urias gods, born of Mother Earth, as non-sentient elemental powers. They are the 7 Khus, or glorious ones, whose place in heaven was appointed by Anoop on the day of "Come Thou to Me." That's Anoop. When this right here came up and placed itself right here and left them 7 pockets for the rest of their life to come and fill up those 7. That's Anoop appointing their positions. They are the 7 who assist the great judge in Mayat at the pole on the night of the judgment day, called the 7 arms of the balance. As executioners of the guilty who accomplish the slaughter in the tank of flame when the condemned are exterminated. They are the 7 wise masters of arts and science who assisted Tahuti, or taught, in his measurements of the earth and heaven. In the solar mythos, they are to be seen in the several characters with Horus, which is the little light seeds, Ptah, the aspect of the building and creation and shaping of everything, and then Ra, which is the sun after he's born. After all that takes place and the sun comes down and is born from out of the womb of the earth. That's when it becomes Ra. They are the seven who assist the great judge in the Maya at the pole on the night of the judgment day, called the seven arms of the balance. Okay, we said all that. They were portrayed as seven with Horus and the great 8 stars of Orion. 7 of Horus and the 8. There are the 7 souls of Ra, also the 7 divine ancestors in the boat of the sun. The 7 who support Osiris in the mental. In whichever phase of phenomena, they are a group, a brotherhood, a companionship of powers originally 7 in number. It is now proposed to identify this first company of creators who passed through the several phases in Egyptian mythos as 7 elementals. 7 with the ancient genetrics, 7 with Anu, 7 with Tahuti, 7 with Horus, 7 with Ptah, as a group of companions called the Elohim in the Hebrew Genesis, who were known to the Gnostics and the Kabbalists as 7 in number, with all Yaldabaoth, a form of soot, at their head. Remember I told you, on this side, this would be the root chakra, which is soot at the head. The word Elohim, okay. So now, oh yeah, another thing about the whole 9 planets. See, they told us it was 9 planets, right? Let me show you where the number 9 come from, and where that 9 comes from. The 9 is the put cycle, Ptah cycle. This is the, remember you had the 7, when all this was light and all this was dark, you had the 7 lights come, you had this one go up, take its place right here, the 7 lights come to occupy each one of these. Then all this right here, the melanin oozed down from the top to the bottom and formed all this. And when this last bit of light came, when this chakra right here light came up, it was a little light left right here, and the glob of melanin caught it right there and kept it put right here, which is the Osiris buried in the mental. That's where the 9 comes from. The 7 planets is 7 planets. You have the 7 planets, and then you have Saturn and Pluto. Pluto is actually the moon, but more so Pluto is when the moon is still froze on top of the Earth. And then you have Saturn, which will be the and the Saturn aspect comes from when all this light that's in the circumference comes out, shoots out, and creates 7 more rings around which would be left dark. So you would have 7 rings around this globe, which would be the rings of Saturn. It's like a top hat. You can say you got eventually you have an ice dome right here with the 7 orbits of light surrounding it. So that'll be the black planet, top of the head. This is black. Then you have the 7 rings around it. That'll give you a Saturn aspect. And then they say Pluto is what, an icy cold planet. When all these go up and the water follows it and freezes up here, that'll be Plutonian. That's why Saturn and Pluto have a close connection or whatever. But the 9 is the 9 put cycle. 1, 7, and that other one, which would be 9. Alright, now we'll go back to show y'all. Okay, the word Hetep. The word Hetep has various meanings of rest, peace, plenty, all of which were to be realized in Hetep, the garden of the blessed dead. Now, which goes back to Selena. Hetep, what it means, peace, plenty, rest. Serena, peace. Serena, peace. Then you have the Nirla Hotep, which is also peace really, because Nirla is black uh, the Nilla is black. Black falls under the color black falls under the category of under the feminine category. And rest and peace and inactivity and passiveness falls under the category of feminism, which falls under, which is the same category black falls under. So black and peace are synonymous to a certain degree. Which when you meditate, what you do, you close your eyes, you go into the dark, you silence your mind or whatever. So she got Serena, which is peace, and then the last part of her last name, which is Nilla, corresponds to Nirla, which is half of Nirla Hotep. Hotep means peace. Nirla Hotep, black peace. Then you got the Nirla, the neuron melanin, the hose, and the tip or the top tip. So going back to with her, that was one of the things she had wanted to be known, that Hispanics are black too. Now you have some that are white, that because when it all boils down to it boils down to the pineal gland, the neuromelanin in the pineal gland. If you have a functioning pineal gland and neuromelanin, then you good to go. But when you lack those, that's when you lack God, or you don't make it to the God level or whatnot. You can't make it to the God level without the neuromelanin. And so all these things coming out in regards to her and the blackness, that's basically what it's trying to convey. Now, I got a channel from her last night. She told me it's this old song. It's this song by Kid Frost, which is a Hispanic artist, that I used to like, called Eastside Rendezvous. Now, this came out around like 95, 96, somewhere around the time probably a little bit after, a little bit before Pac died. I think it was a little bit before. But anyway, I didn't have cable at the time, so when I used to go to my homeboy house on the weekend, he had cable, so that's how I used to catch all the videos. And that was one of the videos that was out at the time, Kid Frost, Eastside Rendezvous. Now, before she tapped in and told me to go listen to that song, I was sitting here thinking about when the animals were created and the dinosaur thing. Because some people are like, well, the ancestors, they didn't leave no drawings or no nothing on the walls or whatever about dinosaurs. But see, the thing about that is, when we started writing, that's really when we had started going into our fallen stage. So the dinosaurs are when I think before humans got on the earth, all the animals were like giants. So every form of animal, like the birds, I think all animals probably was bigger than what they are now. And then before we got on the earth, when we were still more of a spiritual body, or doing the work in the spiritual form, before we took on the body, we reduced them down to size. We broke them down the same way Osiris was broke down. We broke them down into smaller creatures so that we could roam the earth with them, as opposed to having to roam the earth with a bunch of goddamn giants, giant dinosaurs, or giant lizards. Because the dinosaurs are nothing more than just giant versions of the lizards and the reptilians that we see running around here today. But we took the big ones and broke them down to the point of where, so by the time we made it to earth in the physical body, they'll be able, because they're the reptilian, all animals have a particular job or role in the ecosystem. So we needed them, but we needed them around, but they was too big for us to coexist with. So we had to break them down. There's a whole process of figuring out what we needed to do before we came down here, before we partook of physical bodies. So I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about Bobby Hemming in particular when he said we burnt the dinosaurs up, we burned them up. So last night she was like, "Oh, listen to Eastside Rendezvous." So I went and listened to it. Now, it's been a minute since I heard it. So when I first cut it on, Pac showed up. Go that Pac and Selena connection again because of East Side Rendezvous. He sampled the same beat that Pac has on Pour Out a Little Liquor. That on East Side Rendezvous, he sampled the same thing. So immediately I said, okay, they go to Pac element. And but then, you know, Kid Frost rapped, then one of his homeboys rapped, and he was like, I'm riding down San Bernardino or something like that, which I assume this is a street or whatever. Now I don't know what Bernardino actually means. I know San means son, but when he said San Bernardino, right after I was just thinking of, about 30 minutes before that, I was just thinking about Bobby Hemmett saying we burnt the dinosaur. What's short for dinosaur? Dino, D-I-N-O, Bernardino. So I said, oh, okay. I see what you got shaking. So yeah, I just want to throw that in there. I still got some more shit to speak on with the Selena thing, but I'm gonna knock all this out. Go ahead and finish this off. So now, since we're dealing with the heat tip, all right, now back to the Osiris thing, the Osirian drama. You know, all this right here, when the light floods and the surface looks like this is Osiris. Osiris is as one. All the light starts to retract from the center and go out, concentrate right here, and then shoot out and go out into the darkness of space and create 7 more orbits, which the 7 planets eventually which the 7 planets will eventually partake of, but not just yet. But when that happens, when that goes out, shoot out, they create the seven other rings that will be around. This is the Earth. 7 other rings will be around the Earth, and then after they create the 7, they go into the deepest, darkest part of space they can go to, and then become the Zodiac. That's what the last meal, the Last Supper is about. The 12 disciples. When the light goes out to that darkness, the darkness is absorbing or eating the light and holding them in place in order for them to become the Zodiac. Just like when all this light is retracted from the center all the way to the outer circumference to go out and create these mountains in between, the light that goes through the mountains absorb the light, and the light goes within the mountains. And the light that is left behind is left in these little slots in between. So you'd have the mountains, then you have a depression. So you'd be looking down, you'd be looking at mountains, and you'd be looking at it like you're looking into a bowl. And you have the mountains with the light hidden within the mountains, and then you'd have sparkles of light within each of these going all the way around each one of these spheres or whatever, or each one of these spots or whatnot. So you'd be looking down to like a bowl with sparkles of light sitting in it. It looked like a gaping mouth. If you go look at the hero, you go read that book, A Hero with 1,000 Faces. They got a story in there where they talk about the mother looks into the mouth of the prince and sees 1,000 worlds or 1,000 universes or something like that. I don't give me the line, but that's what they prefer. That's what they're referring to. This to be the mother looking down into the bowl and looking at everything that's going to be created in the little bowl or whatever. So that'll be the breaking up of the light would be the breaking up of Osiris. Now, Isis has a transformation story too, or breaking up story too. But with Isis, with Osiris, it's the light breaking up. You read about the Great Mother or Isis being carved and cut up. Isis is the darkness within that bowl that the holes or the when Ptah and all the workers was building, cutting, and carving all throughout the center and digging those trenches and leaving those seeds behind, they're cutting up the Great Mother or cutting up the belly in process of creating the upper mount or everything that's going to be on the surface of the physical world or whatever. So And another thing about the dinosaur thing, we broke them down, but you still have forms of giant creatures to this day, but they exist within the oceans because they'll be out of place on the surface. But when you're dealing with the belly of the beast or the belly of the earth, the vastness of space, the vastness of the abyss, you know what I'm saying, or the ocean or whatever, animals as big as whales and stuff like that fit better down there because it's more room, but it's more space. And then the darkness, that's another thing I speak about too, the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is your abyss. So what the abyss in the ocean is to the earth is what your subconscious mind is to your mind as a whole or whatever. That's where it's chaos or whatnot. Everything exists there. The deepest, the darkest, ugliest parts of you or whatnot that you don't even know exist all reside in the subconscious mind. It's just like the abyss. The deeper you go into the sea, you start to notice that the fishes and all the sea life start to look a little bit more deformed and uglier and different. The deeper you go, you start seeing all types of stuff you ain't never seen before. The deeper you get into the ocean, the same thing with your subconscious mind. Those weird looking sea life monsters in the abyss are deformed or hideous looking the same way the power in your subconscious mind is, or the thoughts of your subconscious mind is. That's why you have to filter. For example, you might be talking to a chick, and in your mind, you might have been knocking her down all week or whatever. But you just met her, and y'all finna go on your first date. Some people do, but 9 times out of 10, and even if you do, you gonna do it unless you just don't know how to filter your thoughts. But you're not gonna invite her over, and as soon as she walk in the door, just jump up on her, or jump on top of her, start going crazy, kissing and licking on her and shit. You ain't gonna do that. That would be, it might have been in your goddamn mind, in the back of your mind or whatever, but when you actually trying to make that manifest or trying to make that come forth, you have to filter those thoughts that are bred by your desire to have sex with that woman. You have to filter those in a manner in which you can go about trying to bring about what you want to happen in a more civilized manner without offending the lady friend and whatnot. So and that's where a lot of people that we would call fucked up are serial killers and all these fucked up, people that we would consider mentally deranged. That's one of the reasons why they're mentally deranged. They don't know how to filter the thoughts that rise up from the subconscious mind. And that's what it's all about. That's what the battle of Horus and Set is about on a psychological level. That's why Soot is Horus is the leader, and Soot is, that's why Christ says, Satan, get behind me. Because the conscious mind has to lead, and filter the power that comes from the darkness or whatever in a manner in which, in a civilized manner, so to speak. So anyway, we'll go back to the hit tip thing. Now, we can really get busy. So that we're dealing with, once all the light travels from the center and shoots out the circle, creates the 7 orbits, then go and create the zodiac, you're left with the dark land with the gold sparkles in it, and the mountains with the gold within them poking up out here, poking out from the 7 circles, the 7 serpent miles or whatever. That's the great mother carved out, and that's Osiris light being splintered or broke apart or whatever. Now, Isis They they trap Osiris in the casket, throw it in the water. It floats up to a strange land where a tree grows around it. And they say a king took the tree and used it as a pillar in his castle. This is the castle or whatever. These the pillars. Isis gets the body back. Then somehow Set gets it again. He cuts it into 14 pieces. She retrieves all 13. She retrieves all but one of the 14, which was the phallus. They say the phallus or the penis was swallowed by a fish. The fish that swallowed the penis is right here. And the penis that was swallowed, when they talk about the phallus of Osiris being swallowed, was when all the melanin was dripping from the top and coming down here to form this right here. So this would be the swallowed penis. They say since she didn't have a penis, she recreated it or refashioned it using gold. This is the refashioned penis. The gold, that's solar. The gold is the solar phallic energy. Phallic meaning penis or whatever. Solar, your sperm, solar phallic energy or whatnot. So they say she refashioned it in gold, and then he impregnated her with Heru, and he went on to be the judge of the underworld or whatnot. How did she refashion it with gold? All these lights that's sitting on the pillar, all of them shot up to here. So it'd be like solar phallic energy or a golden penis going up and impregnating Star Sirius or whatever. Now they say now we enter Horus or Heru. Heru comes to avenge the father. He goes to war with Set. Set puts out his eye. He rips off Set's testicles. Now what does that pertain to? I'm going to show you. Remember, the light is solar phallic energy. So that's the phallus or the penis. Each dot of light is solar phallic. Once that stem right there disconnects from that melanin mound with the gold inside right there, all this basically be it's like a white light going through a spectrum. A spectrum of light going through a spectrum of light going through a prism or whatever, or prism of light going through a spectrum, whatever. You know, when you send that white light through that prism, it breaks up the white light into all the different colors. So when this disconnects from right here and all this energy starts to go up, this one, when that goes up to right here, this one lights up. This will be dark. All of this light will probably be already at the outer edge, because it when all this light was going out to the circumference or whatever, a lot of the misty water that was rising up went to the circumference. But you probably still have light and stuff right here due to these. But anyway, so this one would turn indigo, and then all that will go into this one, and then that one would turn violet, and then all this one will go up into this one and turn blue, and then all this one would go up to this one, and that one would turn green, and all that will go up to this one. That one would turn yellow. All this light will go up to here, and that one would turn orange, and then that orange light will go up into here. This will turn red, root chakra. Then the red light will go up into there, and once that light goes up to there, all that mist and water that was following the light to the outer circumferences, that mist and water, when that last bit of heat goes up into here and leaves the center void of heat or whatnot, all that water freezes over the top and creates an ice dome or whatever, or what would be the moon or whatnot. But they say Horus ripped off his testicles. He put out the lights, Horus ripped out the testicles. So when this light goes from here to here, the light that was right here is put out. The melanin that's surrounding it is the testicles. Got the solar phallic light in the middle, just like the penis sits in the middle. And then you have the two sides, just like the scrotum or the nuts sit on the side. So when this light goes from here to up here, that melanin on the side drops and falls. So all that melanin that's right here, when it drops and falls, it's gonna cover up. Remember, all these were open, or all these were was like a gaping mouth with little sparkles of light. So the first, so when the melanin falls from around that light, the melanin falling from this one right here, or the scrotums falling from right here, will cover up all that light in the first pocket. So all the light, so the melanin from right here will fall, and all those sparkles of light that was right there, that melanin that falls off of the tree, will cover all that up. So that'll be the putting out the lights again. And because they say Set flung his filth at Horus. When they say flung his filth, they talking about when the filth is the melanin sitting around the light. When the light goes up and that melanin falls, the melanin or the filth flings or falls on top of the little Horuses, or the lights, the little lights that are in between each one of these. So each one of these, the melanin from each one of these, cover up all that light that was in these 7 pockets or whatever. That's the eye being put out, and the melanin and the testicles being removed. Now, how much time we got? Now, another, after the light gets put out right here from Seth, flinging the filth, Horus still gets back at him, because when you come down here, this is the root chakra. This is Set, this is Soot. So really the head, this is the head, this would be the pineal gland, top of the head coming down. But when you look at it from the upside down version, which is the Soot version, this will be the head with Soot hanging upside down. Root chakra, color of Soot is red. The most fixated point in the lineup. Set is represented by the donkey, because the donkey is stubborn. Just like the more fixated something is, the more hard it is to move. Just like a stubborn donkey is hard to move, or whatever. That's the head of Soot, which means his body will be going down this way, and his lower nature or lower part will be down here, or his penis will be in the middle, and all those mountains, you got the mountains on this side and mountains on this side. You got split down the middle, testicle, testicle. Head of Soot, the body, his testicles will be those mountains right there. When all that light travels up and coagulates right here and creates the sun, the friction from the moving droplets of water, when they react to this last bit of heat traveling from here up to here, and all that freezes, it creates lightning. Now, this is how I broke it down. The first set of lightning, it struck both sides, but it did it one at a time. So when the sun rises up, when Sirius is in the sky and the sun rises up, Sirius disappears as it makes its way towards the east. Now keep that in mind, because it goes with what I'm trying to say. So where I'm looking at it is, first, it'll shoot lightning this way and knock all these 7 mountains on this side down. Once it do that, it'll cause the once it push down that way, when it strikes all those down, it's gonna push down on this side and then lift this side up this way so the earth will tilt. You know, the earth tilts on this axis or whatever. And if it tilts that way, it'll shoot all the lightning down this way, and that'll push the globe back that way, and then it'll shoot that lightning down, hit that, and the sun will come out and come straight down, while this is still tilted this way. The sun's gonna come down and boom, straight through the center. So you have the globe tilted this way, and then the sun will shoot down, and the earth will be tilted so that when it's get ready to go in this orbit, it'll be tilted this way, which means that this part will be facing down. But when it goes into its orbit, by the time it reaches to its orbit, it's tilted this way, but it's gonna twist this way with this part tilted down. So by the time it gets to its orbit, it'll be twisted. The part that's tilted and twisted this way, pointed down, will be twisted all the way around and facing the sun by the time it gets to its orbit. With Sirius going this way, the sun rising in the east, and let me see. Because it'll twist that way. Yeah, so it'll shoot that way first. But anyway, that's the other. I'll get back to that. I'm gonna study that a little bit more. But the ripping out the testicles again would be when he shoots the lightning down, knocks down or breaks down all the mountains on this side into little mountains, and then break down all the mountains on this side into little mountains or whatever. It'd be like he's ripping the testicles off of set or whatever. And that's why you go back to all ancient civilizations. The main circumpolar paradise is above, is whether in the center of the earth, where the Great Pyramid is or whatever. But then all other civilizations, even though they may not, they mountain, they have a sacred mountain that they identify with the circumpolar paradise, even though it doesn't line directly up. Like even though in Asia, for example, their great mountain might not line right up at the center pole like the Great Pyramid or whatever, but they would still use the mountain, the highness of the mountain, as a representation of what takes place on what of the circumpolar paradise of Kemet or whatever. So that would be the breaking down of those mountains or whatever. That would be him ripping the testicles off the soot. So we'll be back, niggas. Another one for the books.